Someone asked me when we were making the second season, like, what's it like and how is it different? And I remember saying to them that this season is less exciting but more fun. And I kind of mean by that, like when we did the first one, we'd all been sort of plucked and given this incredible opportunity to be part of this production on a scale like this that we'd never had before, and that was so exciting, and every day was different and new and viscerally fun experience, you know. But it was overwhelming as well, like it was scary, like none of us really knew what we were doing. And so now we have the opportunity to come back. We all feel a bit more comfortable, I suppose. We know where we stand within the context of the show, and we could just focus on enjoying it more and having fun and bringing our best work, I suppose.
We have these great relationships off screen, and it makes our ability to do our job so much easier because their relationships are kind of exactly parallel to how much time we've spent with each other as people. So it means that now when you're in season 2, when these people are joking with each other or fighting with each other, you have a real sense of history and how much they can get away with.
Hi, MTV News. We are the cast of Industry, and this is the top 5 most scandalous moments of Industry season 2. The first scandalous moment in season 2 is when Harper has just come back from Berlin and she's in the elevator with DVD, whom she's had a relationship with. And Harper is giving her classic icy, I'm not talking to you, I don't care about you. She's in fact looking straight at the wall. And DVD is there next to her and saying like, how was Berlin? Did you find your brother? And she's not responding. And he says, did you sleep with someone? And Harper turns and looks at him and says, is that all that your imagination can come up with? What if I did? I mean, I did it, but when I watched it, I was like, oh my God. I felt so bad for DVD, and I was like, wow, she's really in her demon time bag right now, because that is so crazy. It's so much like avoiding the point. So that's the moment that I find very scandalous.
I was scandalized when I saw Harper and DVD have sex in an Aston Martin. That was spicy.
That was
and necessary, I think.
When in the Aston Martin, not to say that I'm not surprised by our writers, because they surprise us all the time, but that was not a gag. I'm no longer gagged by having to do some sexually scandalous thing. But what was a gag was when we finally got there, was the thought that 2 people could sit in one front seat of an Aston Martin with a steering wheel and then perform simulated sex with a cameraman in the car as well. All of that was a gag to me. And it was a gag to my feet and my knees. And poor Alex was just suffering there underneath me for however long we were doing it. And it's so small on the inside. That's not what that car is made for. You know what I mean?
It's important to remember that whenever there's any kind of sexual, intimate moment in the show, there is always a cameraman in the closest vicinity doing this. Like, it's very much like a group activity, you know. There's always someone nearby.
No such thing as monogamy in those situations.
Not at all. The next scandalous moment for season 2, for me, would be when Eric's job is in jeopardy, when Eric leaves the bank. Because for me, I mean, Eric's the godfather, he's the king of the castle. When his job's on the line, that was a shock to me when I read it. I didn't see that coming. Because he's like bulletproof in this.
The last sort of thing that you remember is the NDA business, and you know what I mean? So it's like, I was surprised that he seemed relatively unscathed when he was there, but I knew that it was coming.
Harper's doing a trade after she's basically lied to me and said she's not gonna go behind my back, and she does it. And I remember there was this direction that said DVD properly freaks out. I remember like, I came on set and I just started like screaming. And Myha'la was like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I gotta like give it all. I gotta give it everything. And I kept doing it over, like really bad acting. So I just really wanted to nail this beat. Remember Myha'la, we had to go, we went home that day. We had wrapped, we didn't finish the scene. We went back the next day. And I was like, I can't do it. I don't know how to act. I can't do this, let's call it a scandalous moment. And I kind of gave up on acting. And we went to set the next day and I did it, and I didn't try to act at all. And then I remember Harry said to me, he said, wow, that was really good. And everyone said, that's really good. And it felt very scandalous on the page. The whole thing was kind of like the way the music is and the tension and the build. It was like watching a symphony. I was trying my best to overact. and it didn't quite work out. I just remember Myha'la just like, what are you doing, man? And eventually we got there, but I watched that scene and I love it.
The first time we ran through the whole thing, and I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and I say something to him, and I'm like, blah, 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 and I start to sit down, and he goes, get off my floor, and I was like, ooh. I truly was like, I just wasn't expecting it, and I was like, okay, a choice, and it actually like genuinely scared the out of me the first time I heard it. It was a stressful day. That was a hard scene.
And finally, the last scandalous moment from season 2. I'm going to go ahead and say it was in episode 7. It was featuring Jesse Bloom, played by the wonderful Jay Duplass, and it was Gus and Jesse. Gus is visiting Jesse's like mid-century mansion, and in one room is basically nothing but just trading screens and a basketball hoop. Jay Duplass is a baller. Like, he's a legit baller. Like, every single shot he threw was hoop. And I was like, I'm like, when I thought, I was like, that's JD Plus, he can't play ball, I'm gonna dunk on him. But he was making every single shot. And then every single time they called action, they were like, he's gotta miss the shot. And then he would miss the shot every single time. And I was like, that's a secret skill. Like, if I could dunk or shoot the way Jay can shoot from like sat in a trading chair and score every time, I'd be like, no, I don't need to act. Like, I might as well, I belong in the NBA. But so I was like, that's super scandal. And Jay, he keeps it under his hat because he's cool like that. So that was pretty scandalous to me.
I think this show is going to appeal to young people because there's a lot going on in our show. Like, it's very fast-paced and intense, and it's got the backdrop of international finance, which is such a big kind of cauldron for all of these things to happen in. And yeah, it's got all the kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that kind of thing. But I think if you strip all that away, I genuinely believe that this is a coming-of-age story about young people working out who they are and who they want to be. And it just so happens that they're doing that in one of the worst environments you can imagine. And yeah, I think those are kind of relatable ideas that everyone can get behind.
One thing that really struck me this season was that people are represented in every single one of these characters. Like, I can see a lot of my friends in like Yasmin or Harper or even DVD, who's like he uses babyface assassin. Like, these people are just people. You can call them bankers, you can call them graffiti cleaners. Like, it doesn't matter. They're just human beings just trying to find their way. So no, I fully agree with Harry. It is a coming of age story, and I think as a young black man myself, and the response from season 1, people seeing themselves on screen, feeling so represented, I mean, that's like an honor, and I kind of take that into season 2 and just go, listen, everyone's here, we're welcome.